So love. So this is just a warning, as you know, Yellowstone's getting ready to go, but there's a volcano in Washington, and there's another one off the coast. And if you live in Florida, Washington, Cali, and it's one other place, and you might want to move.
Just really realized what a guy was speaking about in the comments to me yesterday about the noise in the background, like a waterfall. That's my fish tank. I'm sorry. From here on out, I'll correct that where that noise won't be in the background aggravating y'all. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me for that one, y'all.
I started getting it. This wasn't a simulation or some abstract vision. It was a revelation, a straight-up warning. Something awful was brewing, and it had hit the West Coast first, hard and fast. My breath caught me. The guy who dismissed prophecies as bunk, now staring at the future unfolding. But why show me the mission Jesus mentioned? It was tying into this, and the weight of it nearly crushed.
Now, we're not religious, but just hear the guy out, alright? Even though we're not religious, at least just hear him out. We're not going, he's just telling you the vision he had.
Hold on, because what erupted next was pure nightmare fuel. From those bloody cracks, something worse than any earthquake started bubbling up. Lava, red hot, rolling like rivers of fire blood, erupting from the ground. Not just one volcano blowing its top, but a whole chain of them, big and small vents exploding all at once across the West Coast states. Black smoke choked the sky, turning day into night. The sulfur stench was so thick, I could smell it right there in the vision, burning my nostrils even without a body. The lava surged down, swallowing everything in its path. It wasn't fast like a flood. No rushing torrent you could outrun. It was slow, relentless, melting and torching whatever it touched, trees vaporizing, roads buckling into slag, houses crumpling like paper in a bonfire. Cars tried to flee, but the heat warped metal, tires bursting before the flow even reached them. I watched it creep, unstoppable, like a predator savoring the kill. In that vision, I was just a watcher, powerless. I couldn't shout warnings, couldn't grab anyone to safety. The helplessness hit me hard, like a weight crushing my soul. My chest tightened, breaths coming short even in spirit form. All my science, my logic, useless against this fury. It felt like carrying the grief of a nation on my back, and I couldn't shake it off. But the real terror, seeing the cities I knew, places full of life, about to vanish. The first city I saw was Los Angeles, yes. That Los Angeles, the city where dreams are spun like gold reels in Hollywood studios, where glamour clings to every boulevard and sidewalk like perfume, where every palm tree seems to whisper ambition. I saw it all, the iconic streets bustling with life, the endless freeways clogged with honking cars, sprawling luxury estates clinging to the hillsides like jewels, and gleaming glass towers catching the last glints of sunlight. But in this vision, that light didn't bring hope. It only highlighted the horror. The entire city was sinking slowly, terrifyingly into a churning sea of fire. It wasn't just buildings crumbling or traffic backing up, it was panic incarnate. Screams cut through the thickening smoke as chaos erupted. People ran, stumbled, pushed each other aside like panicked animals. Some tried to reverse through gridlock. Others abandoned their vehicles altogether, dragging children by the arms, clutching bags or nothing at all. Parents wept, children screamed, Lovers lost each other in the stampede. But the lava, the red-hot, merciless tide kept creeping forward, steady as judgment. Nothing could stop it. Neon signs that once lit up the city's nightlife sparked and died, sputtering uselessly against the inferno's roar. Palm trees flared up like matchsticks. The once idyllic coastline where celebrities sipped cocktails now boiled, the sand melting into glass. Even the Walk of Fame, the symbol of success for so many, was swallowed whole, its stars erased under molten rock. Fame, dreams, legacy, all reduced to nothing. I felt it like a punch to the chest. To witness a city built on ambition and allure literally melt away. It wasn't just tragic, it was devastating. Then the scene shifted and I saw San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge, proud and majestic, was buckling in the heat, one by one. Its massive steel supports twisted, drooping like strands of licorice, groaning before finally snapping. I watched in horror as it fell piece by piece into the flaming waters below. The charming hills, the painted Victorian houses, the artsy murals that spoke of resistance and culture. Everything that gave the city its soul vanished under rivers of lava. Even Silicon Valley, the tech capital of the modern world, couldn't escape. Its pristine campuses, glass-walled innovation hubs, billion-dollar startups, everything was reduced to rubble and ruin. I saw microchips melt like wax, state-of-the-art servers reduced to useless ash. Engineers and entrepreneurs, those who once built the future, fled in blind panic, their tools of progress powerless in the face of nature's fury. The morning fog that usually caressed the bay turned to choking steam, rising in grey columns that blotted out the sun. Cable cars screeched and twisted, derailed and tossed into the abyss. In moments, the heart of American ingenuity became a tomb of ash and fire. And then came the Pacific Northwest. Portland and Seattle, those green, misty, rain-kissed sanctuaries of thoughtfulness and art, stood no chance. Towering pine forests that once felt eternal were now cloaked in falling ash, their air thick with poison. Gentle rivers that carved through valleys boiled over, cooking everything in their path. The charming brick streets, the cozy indie cafes, the weekend farmers' markets, they all disappeared, swallowed in an unforgiving tide of fire. The skies turned a hellish orange at first, then went darker until the world above was pitch black, like some terrible eclipse that would never lift. I saw people, young couples in flannel shirts and boots, baristas and hikers, artists and techies running for their lives. Trails became traps. Microbreweries exploded like fireworks. The Space Needle, once a symbol of futuristic hope, groaned and fell like a toppled tree. The evergreen beauty of the Northwest was gone, consumed in minutes. The green gave way to red, and the peace to screaming terror. I watched it all unfold, helpless. My chest tightened, not just in fear, but in mourning. These weren't just cities. They were pieces of my life, places I'd visited, given lectures in, shared moments with colleagues and strangers alike. And the sounds were unbearable, not just noise anguish, a horrifying, never-ending symphony of pain and loss.
Now that was that. You gonna make of it what you want to do. I know for years, since I've been on YouTube for these last 3 years, I've been telling people to stack up, get ready. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew something was coming, but didn't know exactly what it was. You know, God would only give it to me. And, you know, he would speak to my spirit. And just, you know what I'm saying? When he would speak to my spirit, Only thing he would tell my spirit, man, just let the people know. Let the
Now, we're not being religious. We're not going with all that religious stuff. But things are happening. The dragons are waking up. The dragons are leaving those areas, coming out, because even they know it's going to blow.
We don't have long left, y'all. We don't have long left. You done gave the world all you.
No. They don't have long left. We'll be just fine. All right? Except if you live in those areas, though, I maybe suggest move from those areas, though.
Can give them. Now it's time to give God a little something. That's what I'm finna do. But now y'all check this a little bit out, man. You know.
Has always been under the watchful eye of geologists and volcanologists. Its caldera, formed by an ancient supereruption some 640,000 years ago, is still very much alive, simmering beneath the picturesque surface of geysers, hot springs, and sprawling pine forests. It has long been known that the magma chamber below Yellowstone is immense, so vast that if it were ever to erupt with full force, the consequences would be globally catastrophic. But until now, the activity had remained within a relatively stable range. That stability has seemingly come to an abrupt halt. For weeks leading up to the closure, there were whispers of oddities, wildlife behaving erratically, herds of bison and elk moving in strange coordinated patterns away from the park's core, tourists reporting unnaturally warm ground, rangers documenting geysers erupting at intervals far outside their normal rhythms. A dense, sulfuric haze began to settle over some of the geothermal zones. Then came the tremors, light at first, then more frequent and more powerful. Within a short span of time, over 2,000 minor quakes were recorded, many centered around the Norris Geyser Basin, one of the hottest and most unstable thermal areas in the park. When the shutdown was announced, it came not with the usual clarity and transparency associated with national park operations, but with vague statements about infrastructure concerns and visitor safety. Gates were locked, roads were closed, and air traffic over the park was quietly restricted. Tourists already inside were escorted out under the watch of armed personnel. The U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, updated its website with only the most basic information, omitting the seismic swarm data that had typically been available. This abrupt information blackout only fueled further speculation. Then came Michio Kaku's revelation. Known for his deep insights into physics and his talent for making the most complex scientific principles digestible to the public, Kaku did not mince words in recent commentary. He pointed out that Yellowstone's caldera was exhibiting patterns consistent with pre-eruptive behavior, magma movement, ground deformation, and changes in hydrothermal output. Satellite thermal imaging had shown expanding heat signatures across wide swaths of the park, and GPS sensors detected uplift of several inches in parts of the caldera. More critically, deep harmonic tremors, seismic signals that often precede volcanic eruptions, had been quietly recorded beneath the park, indicating the movement of magma toward the surface. The implications of this are staggering. Yellowstone's supervolcano holds the potential energy of thousands of Hiroshima-level atomic bombs. If it were to erupt in a major event, it wouldn't simply affect the surrounding states. It would plunge the world into a volcanic winter, spewing ash into the atmosphere that could block sunlight for months or even years. Crops would fail, temperatures would drop drastically, and global supply chains would collapse under the weight of such an unforeseen natural disaster. Entire regions could become uninhabitable due to toxic ashfall. But even short of a full-scale eruption, the signs point toward a fundamental shift in the behavior of the Yellowstone system. Dr. Kaku's comments suggest that we may be witnessing the early stages of a long-term escalation. The magma chamber's pressure is increasing, and the geological system is becoming more volatile. If this is a new phase in the Yellowstone timeline, it could unfold over years or even decades, but the unknowns vastly outnumber the knowns. What's certain is that Earth is communicating something ancient and raw through the pulse of Yellowstone. The close.
All right, that's it right there, man. My next video, you have a lot of people coming back with instructions. I don't know how many of y'all know the Bible, But it speaks on the 3 days of darkness. They coming, y'all. They coming. The 3 days of darkness. Gonna be a lot of people lose their lives over that 3 days. Millions of people gonna lose their lives over that 3 days. The Bible tell you, man, my people perish from a lack of knowledge. My people perish from a lack of knowledge, and that's saying they not reading the word. They not.
No, they just not paying attention. They sleep at the well. They're on autopilot. And when you tell them, they don't believe you. Yeah, man, stock up on dry foods, canned goods, and be armed. You know that in the darkness we spoke about that. Yeah. And I told you about the spaceship and when things jump off it. Yep, I ain't gotta say much more. Peace and love. It is what it is.